Let's move with the next one. As some of you might know, I have a very strong affinity to non-photorealistic rendering or cel shader. Let's go to some example of stuff I've done over the years, some in Mudbox, some in ZBrush, some in Modo, some in Maya, Mental Ray in Photoshop, Mental Ray, V-Ray, and now I'm looking into how could I achieve the same type of result with Redshift. I have different way of doing it. I can go with Redshift and post-process, but for the purpose of the one of today, I will be going only with Redshift. Actually, let's go quickly over this one. This one is one of my last one done in ZBrush and post-process, mostly Photoshop. Here, we will try to go for something similar to that. It will not be as detailed as that, but we will probably get fairly decent result. Keep in mind, Redshift officially does not support any NPR feature. We will just use what Maya gives us and try to achieve the best result without compositing. I could achieve way better result if I start to take my result in Photoshop and do compositing and post-processing there and there. But for today, we will see what we can get out straight out of Redshift. We will grab the gun. It will be a hands-on. We grab the gun that I gave you. Obviously you have it as an FBX file. We did remove all the texture of what we did before. My outliner is empty. I have no light. That's actually why I will be creating a light now. Light, we will do just a Redshift physical light. Panel look selected. We will look at the gun from that size. We will do an IPA test just to see what we are working with. Okay, it's fairly okay. We don't care. Maybe move the light a little bit more there. It is not really important. We might eventually just make the light a little bit bigger. Show all. We have everything here. Let's see, outliner, window outliner, and we go with the light, physical light, and we make it bigger. So far so good. 8 should be good enough. So we look at here and we say actually the light is probably yeah, it's exactly what it was. The light was in front of the camera. Here I will say it's something decent. We look at the perspective camera and we will make sure that we not render background to black but background to white. That will be a good start. Next step is to assign a shader on the gun. Lighting shading, assign new material. Actually we will keep this one. We will look at the material and start to do some change here. First we want it to be white. I know it's counterproductive, right? White on white, but it is fine. We will make it white. We will make it slightly emittive, just like maybe 1. So now we go and lighting shading. Actually no, before we do that, let's go to the next very crucial step. The next crucial step is to use the power of Maya. Something people tend to forget is that yes, you can do cel shader or NPR rendering in Mental Ray, in Modo, in Lightwave, in V-Ray. All those tools are very nice edge tracer, but actually Maya have a great tool which allow you to let's see here, rendering, and if you go to tool, you can create a new outline. So now since I'm recording, it will be a little bit slow. You see my gun and my viewport are very slow right now. That's why we will go here and just move bigger. And now I have a tool line. That tool line will not be rendering in Redshift. There is no way for me to render. Redshift do not render PFX. But before we go further, I will play a little bit with the value here and see, moving some slider around and see what they do. Line extent maybe 0.01. That will be crazy. It takes some time to update. Line width we will do 15. See, we start to get like weird results, maybe a little bit too strong. Actually no, I kind of like that. The next one I will look is the profile line. We will keep them, or we will give it more modulation. 4. It's too strong, we will give it 2. Then maybe the crease line, those are important. We will tell him to not only use art crease only, and to lower the minimum angle to 8. Let's see what does that do. Yes, see, we are getting more crease line. We will make them a little bit less wide, sorry, 0.7 and modulation of 1. Now we get something okay. The next step at this point is to continue playing with those slider until you find something that you like. In my case, obviously, since I did do dry run before, I know that I like those values. Let's go Gunny, replace, and those values will be, actually no, those values are not working for me. The one I just had were better. Let's do here. Maybe we can do an undo. It should work. Good. And we will now make sure that we can render those lines in Redshift. To do so, I will edit, I will modify, convert PFX to, let's go to modeling first. Modeling, modify, it's convert here, convert paint effect to polygon, and I make sure that I give a value of 0 to make sure that it's using the most amount of polygon as possible. So here it's done. Now if I go in my, obviously everything is becoming very slow, IPR, we should see this already look like something I could use, right? It's kind of stylized, it's fine, but I want to push it a little bit further. We will turn everything off, none, and just turn on polygon. That's only stuff we want to see. We don't want to see the PFX. It's a bit okay here. The fact that it's slow is totally normal. I'm using a very high poly mesh for the gun, and I'm putting a subdivision on it, and on top of that PFX, which I calculated. So we will see if we can turn them off. That should be faster a little bit now. Now let's go to rendering hypershade. What we want to do is trick it a little bit more. We have one shader, which is the shader that is slightly incandescent. Now I will create a blend shader material, blend shader, Redshift. Here we will grab it from material blender. Then I will drop this one here as a base material. As a second material, I will create a new shader, also done in Redshift material, and I will make it blue as a color general. This is just to get an idea of what's going on. This one will be blue, and this one will not reflect. Now the material blend, go to everything, up, we assign it, we call it gun, and we will actually also make a new Redshift material for the outline. Redshift material, and we assign it to the outline, and we call the outline, actually we will not do a new Redshift material for the outline. We will keep the surface shader, let's see here, and we'll say up surface shader. The only stuff we will do is the outer color will be blue, somewhere here, dark blue. So now if I do a test render, I should get something interesting, which is nothing, because my blend material here, where's my blend material? My gun blend material here. I need to blend my color a little bit more, and now I can see what's going on, just a little bit, not much. Actually, as soon as it's done calculating, we lose off the detail, but don't worry, we will trick it. My blend color will be using a file. Since I did my texturing in Substance Painter, I have access to a map, a very specific map, which is called a curvature map. We will go grab it. Since I will be giving you all the texture with a gun, you will be able to grab it too. Should you not have a curvature map, I will suggest that you just create it yourself. You will bake it down a normal map. You will search online about how to create a curvature map out of a normal map. It's very easy, or you could even just use a channel of your normal map. We don't really need a curvature map per se. What we need is something that gives us the effect of all the hard edge on my model. Look, Redshift, now we go to Gunny and we will grab Curvature Boolean, super name, and look at exactly what it is doing. You see here, it's giving me all those light, those lines, sorry. We will force it a little bit to be a little bit stronger, meaning I will be going to my image and I will start to play with my parameter color balance. What happens if I invert it? Invert is not really working for me because you see now I'm just getting plain white here and a little bit of blue there. We will bring it back and look at the color offset. Too strong. We will go here, roughly here in this area. Now I'm getting a light that is way too blue, meaning I will go to my base material and I will change the color to something similar to the outline. This is the outline here. Let's see, it's a little bit stronger. Let's grab this one, that's black. It's I like it, but it is too dark. That's why I will have to take it more in the lighter tone. So just to recap what those lines are and what they are doing, we will just change the color to red for you to see them. You have the strong blue line that are coming from the Toon PFX, and you have the red line, and those red lines are coming out of the curvature map. You could actually even hide the PFX conversion and still have something that is fairly decent to do a render. But I kind of like those PFX lines. Display, show, last hidden. We will just make sure that we go back to more friendly color on the gun material, which are here. We grab this one and we make it more like something like that. Let's see, somewhere there. Let's grab this one and move it there. Too soft. You see, it's still very delicate. It's depending on how the light is hitting it and stuff like that. So next up we will want to do actually something I really like is, since we are using PFX, right, and we still have a connection between our line from the PFX and the conversion to polygon, we can see those lines are still there and they are moving as see how they change as we look at the object base of the camera view. See here, that area, it's completely gone. Now it is looking perfectly nicely here, that area. So the last stuff I might want to do is give another layer of interesting stuff on my gun. I will be looking at my blend material. I will be assigning a new redshift material. Where's my blend? My blend is here. I drop my redshift material here. My redshift material, the new one, will be material 11. We will make it red just for the purpose of saying what we are doing. Fairly red, orange, whatever, it's fine. We will come here on our blend and decide about the blend color. In this case, I want to use, what do we use? We will use an AO. Redshift ambient occlusion, and as you can see we start to have result, which I do not really like, to be honest with you. So let's look at my ambient occlusion, and here maybe we can do that. We will first make sure that we have 128 sample. Then occlusion shading normal, what does that give us? Now we stay occlusion bent normal, it's better. Let's move that down. And here, well, actually we can close it from here and just work here. We will take the spread down and let's see if we need to invert it. I think yes, this is exactly what I have in mind. We need to invert it. Why? Because if I stay this way, then we get the latest material that I did add on top and the material that is below being the one that gets revealed, but it's not what I want. I want to invert it. So we could also invert the normal, which gives us exactly the same result, but not the same as if I do that, right? You see, it's look different. Invert normal is based off normal of the model. It's invert normal is interesting if you want, and it's not really working all the time, but if you want to get edge scratch. Nowadays I will do everything in texturing, but there was time where I was using AO to do basically paint reveal, metal reveal under paint on an hard edge. Anyway, it's not very interesting since we don't do that anymore. Let's see if we move our fall off a little bit more. We can spread it more and spread it there. Or we don't spread it and we take it down, and we get a stronger red area. Now that I have my red area, obviously my area, I don't want it to be red, right? It is not what I want. What I want is to go to my shader here, my Redshift Material Shader 11, and look into it and say, no, you are blue. Maybe not such a friendly blue, maybe more like in the grayish blue, something like that. And obviously you are not reflecting, right? You're a flat material. So the last step, which is exactly the same as what we just did, the last step for me now will be to go Window, Rendering Hypershade, and see if it makes sense to add another layer on top of my blend material. Let's go to my gun material. Let me make that a little bit bigger. Expand, grab my gun here, then look at my material, put another one, and this one I'm not even sure if I would like it. I'm just trying something and see if it's work. The diffuse will be red again. Let's see, where are we? Redshift Material 12, diffuse, yes. Or orange. I always say red, but I use orange, it's funny. Then we will make sure that it is not reflective. And when we have that done, we will look at our blend. What will we be using for a blend? I would suggest that we use maybe shader, redshift. Let's see, we have subsurface scattering now, incandescent. No, we want a Fresnel. Let's see if a Fresnel gives us an interesting result. And then we will make it stronger here. It is not what I want. Let's see here. Yes, this is actually what I want. See, it gives us a nice stylized effect. Obviously orange is not the color we want to use, that's why we will go being there and start to play there and make it maybe more dark green. Let's see what dark green gives us. Not really friendly. I think it is this is here. Yeah, we can say we like what we see. We have ambient occlusion. We have actually 1, 2, 3. How many layers do we have? We have 1, 2, and 3 layers of material. Now if I rotate my gun a little bit more, this is what I get. And I think it's look interesting. And this is why. Actually, you know what? I do not like the Fresnel effect. I told you, right? It's always index of reflection. We leave that here. We will kill that and use the curve 1. Let's see. It is here, we get it slightly on the border. This is good. And here I don't know if I really like it. Let's go back with the index of refraction and 0.4. It will be too low. You see, it's exactly what happened. That's why we'll put it at 1.5 and it's too much. You see, you have to be careful to not be too low or too much. Here we get it there and there a little bit, 0.9, and here we get it there. Now if we rotate, yes, see, we get slight effect here in that area and that area. We could change the color, but we will leave it this way. So the last stuff I will want to do now is remember, we want to make it almost like no compositing, straight out of Redshift. I will just go in my camera, window outliner, perspective, and I will grab my orthographic view. What am I saying? I'm grabbing my Redshift, I'm assigning a lens shader, which I already have. I have a bokeh. Let's see if we give it depth of field. It is not a good idea. We will actually want to give him, go back here. Okay, don't want to. We will give it an additional lens shader, which is photographic exposure. Here, it was still on. Okay, let's turn it on. It's way too strong. We will take it down to 1200. I want it darker, and vignetting will be stronger. So something like that. My white point could be somewhere here, maybe in the green, which will give us purple, but I don't like it. Maybe in the blue should give us orange. Yes, it's actually better. And obviously my vignette needs to be not as strong. So, and at this point I can just press render, look at the result. I don't need to turn on Radiosity, which is turned on by default actually on my scene. That's why, remember, it's the gun scene, meaning I did not remove it. Let's turn it off, none, and not render, and see what we get. This is one. It's 11 seconds. It's not bad at all actually, and if I come here I can turn it a little bit more and get a better view. And as you see, with no compositing, straight up out of Redshift, I managed to get what I consider fairly decent result for stylized rendering of a simple shader. Now, though I wish there was more NPF feature on Redshift, definitively I really want to be able to calculate those edge at render time. I really want to be able to have incident shader that react to the incidence of the light, which will make my texture darker depending on where the light is hitting and stuff like that. But hey, you do with what you have, and maybe it will come in the future. So I hope you do have fun, and let's move to the next one.